Hey guys, so the time has come for my giant empties video before this move. I think that this is the last sit down video that I'm filming in this apartment, in this spot. I'm in a slightly different spot because I don't have my usual setup, but I have filmed a lot of videos here in this spot, so it's kind of bittersweet. But anyway, let's get into the empties. This is pretty much everything that I've used up in the last month. I've been working really hard to use up as many products as I could over the last month, and I used up a ton. So I think instead of my usual empties format, I'm just gonna kind of go by category. So like we'll do makeup, skincare, hair care, miscellaneous, just because I feel like it's too much to do like my usual repurchase or not repurchase categories. So let's just switch it up this time, and we'll start with the makeup though. So I do have 4 makeup products to share. The first one is a concealer. This is the Pacifica Liquid Cover Full Coverage Lasting Concealer. I actually didn't really like this that much. It was okay as a foundation. I actually wore it as a foundation quite a bit in order to use it up, but I really didn't like it on the under eyes. I just felt like it didn't have enough coverage, and the coverage would just kind of fade away on my under eyes very quickly. I do like a pretty strong amount of coverage on the under eyes, and for something that calls itself full coverage, I did not think this was anywhere near full coverage. I wouldn't repurchase this. There are just so many other concealers I prefer. I like the Kosas one, the Urban Decay one, the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo. Those are my top 3 faves. This one just didn't compare to those, so I wouldn't repurchase it. Then I have, oh, this is such a favorite. I'm so sad to be saying goodbye to this, but this is the Clove and Hallow Hydratint Serum Blush in the shade Blossom. This has been discontinued, unfortunately. It was in my project pan for quite a long time this year. I scraped out everything I could with a Q-tip and like dumped it into a little smaller jar. So I used up everything that I could of this. There's like a little bit left in there, but there's just no way to get it out. This packaging is not very good if you are a panner because it's just very hard to get everything out. But everything else about this product I loved. It was perfect. It was everything I wanted in a cream blush. It had a super lightweight texture, but it was very pigmented. It went with every single look. I just loved it. I'm very sad that they discontinued it. If they ever brought it back, I would definitely repurchase because it's just flawless, except for the packaging. I would love for them to put it in different packaging. Then we have a liquid highlighter. This is the Becca Liquid Highlight in Champagne Pop. I finally finished up this bad boy. I ended up finishing up the last little bit of it by mixing it with a body lotion, using it as a glowy body lotion. It made a beautiful glowy body lotion, by the way. Like, it truly did give my legs like the most beautiful sheen. Really liked it, especially on top of a fake tan. I've also been using up a fake tanner recently, and this looked really pretty on like tan skin. But I'm happy I was able to use up the rest of this before the move, and I will miss it. This was a beautiful highlighter. Before I used it up that way, I really liked it on the cheeks. Nice, just very subtle, natural looking highlighter. I do still have the powder version of this. Unfortunately, this liquid version is no longer sold. The only Becca products you can still get are, I think, the powder highlight in Champagne Pop, maybe another shade, I'm not sure, and the under eye corrector. Both of those are sold under Smashbox, but this is no more, so I will miss it, but also kind of glad to see it go. And then I had this little deluxe sample of the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Push-Up Lashes Mascara, teeny tiny sample. I actually was able to get a good, probably a month's worth of use out of this. I was rotating between a couple different mascaras, but I would estimate that I got about a month's worth of use out of this little sample. This I wouldn't repurchase. It smudged on me pretty badly, so I mean, I would say about 80% of mascaras do smudge on me these days. I did like the brush. It has these 2 flat sides and then 2 sides with like straight plastic bristles. Good brush for separation. It gives you kind of a nice fluttery, lengthened sort of lash look. Nothing overly dramatic. If you like more of a natural but still lengthened and separated lash look, you might like the look of this, but it just wasn't that impressive to me considering the price of the full size, so I'm glad I got the chance to try the sample, but I wouldn't buy it again. So I believe that's all the makeup this time. I do have another couple of makeup items that I thought I was going to be done with by now, but I'm still not. So those will be in my next empties, like the CoverGirl powder and the Urban Decay Stay Naked concealer. Those are still not done, so those will have to be in my next empties in Seattle. All right, let's talk fragrance next. I actually have a few fragrance empties. The first one is a travel spray of the Penrose Merrymaker perfume. This is actually the second one of these that I've gone through. I think my other one that I went through was in my last empties video a month ago, but I wanted to go ahead and finish this one up because I knew it would be easy to finish up before the move, and that was one less thing that I'd have to take with me. I love this scent, I really do. I could definitely see myself buying the full size of this in the future. I think they describe this as a fruity floral, which I would agree with. It's just a very clean sort of scent. It's not overly floral, but just very fresh and clean. I like to wear this if we're like going out to eat or going out, doing something at night. For some reason, this is like a going out perfume to me, but I also just like it day to day as well. So really liked that. Still don't like this as much as my top favorite from Penrose, which is Pillow Talk Poet. That one is even better. Here's another one that's on my wish list. This is the Clean Reserve Skin Scent. This is such a nice fragrance. Yeah, the full-size bottle is 100% on my wish list. This is very clean. It's got kind of like a clean laundry sort of scent to it, but also a warm, musky scent mixed in there. It's very fresh and clean, but sexy at the same time. I just love this. Every time I wore this, I would just, every time I got a whiff of it, I'd be like, oh my gosh, it smells so good. And I can only imagine how much better the spray version of this is, because this is just a little rollerball deluxe sample that I got as a point perk from Sephora. I think that rollerballs just never give you the full experience that a spray does, so definitely hoping to get my hands on the full size of that at some point soon. Love it. And then I have two little mini samples from the 7 Virtues. Actually, my boyfriend helped me finish these up. Lately he's been wearing my perfumes, and they smell amazing on him. I swear they smell different on him than they do on me. We have here Patchouli Citrus and Orange Blossom from the 7 Virtues. I think Orange Blossom was one that I decluttered in my perfume declutter a while ago, but he ended up using it up. So the Orange Blossom I wouldn't repurchase. It's just a very strong floral scent, Orange Blossom is, so that's not one that I would repurchase. For floral things, I prefer something just a little bit more muted. And then we have Patchouli Citrus. This scent, okay, based on the name, I wouldn't have thought that I would like this. Like patchouli and citrus together, that sounds like a weird combo. I don't necessarily like either of those that much on their own, but together, this smells so expensive. It smells so warm and cozy and very much like a winter scent to me, but like a going out in the winter scent. Not like a cozy at home scent, but this is like a going out to a concert or like a fancy restaurant in the winter or a holiday party, something. Oh wow, yes, I think I will probably purchase the full size of this next time I see it on sale, because I need this in the Seattle winter. I just feel like that is going to be the coziest, most put together kind of scent for that time of year. So gonna need that full size for sure. Alrighty, next category is skincare. I have a couple of cleansers here, one of which I actually used up as a hand soap. This is the Versed Wash It Out Gel Cleanser. Really, I'm at a point with my skin where I can only use non-foaming cream cleansers on my face. Otherwise, gel cleansers like this just kind of dry my face out a little bit. So use that up as a hand soap, works well as a hand soap, might also make a good basic gel cleanser if you like gel cleansers. And then this is my favorite cleanser ever. This is the Paula's Choice Softening Cream Cleanser. I have the jumbo size. I will be repurchasing. There's a teeny bit left that I'm going to use up before we go, but wanted to go ahead and throw it in this empties video. Great non-foaming cream cleanser, doesn't irritate or strip your skin, but it does get your skin clean. I use this as the second step of my double cleanse, so I'll use the cleansing balm or oil first to remove my makeup, then I go in with this. My skin is happy and clean, but hydrated at the same time after I use this. So highly recommend if you use tretinoin or if you just have extra sensitive skin, this is fantastic. Couple of moisturizers here. This is the Osea Seabiotic Water Cream. This I received in PR. I really enjoyed it, but I think this is like over $50, which is just a little bit out of my budget for one face cream. But it had a really nice texture. They describe it as a water cream, and I think that's the perfect name for it because it is a cream, but at the same time it feels kind of lightweight and watery. I still found it hydrating enough for my dry skin. I would use it at night and in the morning, and it worked well for both of those. At night, I would use this underneath my tretinoin, then over my tretinoin, I'd apply a thicker, more occlusive moisturizer, but it worked well as kind of like a basic lighter weight moisturizer, and also worked well as my AM moisturizer. I just said moisturizer so many times. This was nice, I enjoyed it, but I would not repurchase it for that price tag. Then we have this one I actually was not expecting to have done before the move, but my boyfriend helped me finish it. He loved this. I believe his exact words were, "This is the best moisturizer I've ever used." So take that for what you will. I also greatly enjoyed this. This is from their new Mighty Biome line in the aluminum tube. They call it an Ultra Hydrating Moisturizer Concentrate, which I think is a great name for it. It had a very thick, kind of buttery texture, very nourishing on the skin, but at the same time didn't feel too heavy or anything. I think that even if you have acne-prone skin or you're prone to clogged pores. I think you might still like this because my boyfriend is, a lot of moisturizers do kind of clog his pores and break him out, but that was not the case with this one for him. I also really liked it, especially for my dry skin. This worked well as my over tretinoin moisturizer. I would actually use this both under and over the tretinoin. Worked well for both. Almost has like the richness of a leave-on overnight mask, you know, but at the same time, it was also not too thick to wear in the daytime underneath sunscreen and makeup. So highly recommend, really do love that. Although I do still think I like the Paula's Choice Skin Recovery Hydrating Treatment Mask a little bit more than this, and I actually think that one is a better value cost per ounce. But this one you can get at places like Walmart and Target, so if that's more accessible to you, this is a really good option, and I could definitely see myself repurchasing this at some point, or even just getting it for my boyfriend because he liked it so much. I am trying to kind of speed through these because we have a lot to talk about, but I do have two sunscreens. These are actually both very similar to one another. We have the Bliss Blockstar Invisible Daily Sunscreen SPF 30 and the Everyday by Unsun Mineral Tinted Face Sunscreen Lotion with SPF 30. Both have SPF 30, both are tinted, both are matte. I did talk at length about the differences between the two in my sunscreen roundup that I did back in May. So I'll leave that linked below if you want to see them applied to the skin, how they compare, how these two compare, and how they also compare to a bunch of other sunscreens. But these are both mineral. I really like both, but I wouldn't repurchase the Bliss. I would repurchase the Everyday by Unsun because the tint is a better shade for me. It's a little bit lighter. The Bliss one I think is better for more warm, light to medium skin tones, whereas the Everyday by Unsun is better for like really fair, more cooler toned skin tones, which is me. And the Unsun one is water resistant, whereas the Bliss one is not. So this one I just think wins for that reason alone. These two, not only are they matte tinted mineral sunscreens, but they also both have a lavender scent to them, almost an identical scent. So if you don't like a lavender scent, definitely steer clear at both of these. I don't personally mind it. I don't feel like it irritates my skin, so I would definitely repurchase the Unsun one for sure. The Bliss one's also not bad. It's also just not a great cost per ounce. Like this one actually, even though it is technically a drugstore brand kind of, when you work out the cost per ounce is actually kind of expensive per ounce. So that's another kind of strike against it. I also used up the Krave Beauty Beet Shield. This is a sad one. This has been discontinued for a while. They discontinued it because they found that it did not actually contain the SPF that they thought it did. So it was, apparently it was supposed to be SPF 50. Turns out it was lower than that. They weren't able to say how much lower it was. So I ended up just using this up on my body on days where I wasn't going to be outside a whole lot, but I wanted like a little bit of SPF on my body, you know? This used to be my favorite face sunscreen ever. It's sad that it's no longer there, but did use that up. I used up an eye cream as well. This is the Josie Maran Argan Pro Retinol Eye Concentrate. This took a while to use up. I actually don't think I would repurchase this. I don't know, I didn't love it. Something about it, I just felt like it didn't really give my eyes a whole lot of hydration, my under eyes. Like, it felt nice going on. It had kind of like a buttery texture. It almost sort of melts into your skin, but I just didn't feel like the moisture stuck around. I kind of felt like my under eyes were even more dry than usual when I wore this. It just didn't blow me away. Also, I don't think this actually has retinol in it. It's kind of a misleading name. They call it their Pro Retinol Eye Concentrate. I'm not sure what the deal is with that wording. I think there's some reason why they call it that, but this doesn't actually have retinol in it. I don't think. I'll have to double check the ingredients, but anyway. I prefer the Paula's Choice Retinol Eye Cream. That's what I'm using right now. It's better than this. Speaking of retinol and tretinoin, I did finally use up my first ever tube of Tretionin Cream. This is Tretionin 0.05% prescription. I actually am going to pick up my prescription in a little while. There's like a teeny bit left in here, but I'm glad I was able to get that prescription filled before we left because I was cutting it kind of close there. But this tube lasted me a year and 3 months. But that was starting off using it very slowly, like every third day, and then slowly working up to just about every day now. So if you want to hear more about my Tretionin experience after a year of using it, and also my Tretionin skincare routine, I will leave that video linked down below. In that video, I shared all about my experience with it, but I'm very happy with Tretionin. Long story short, I do feel like it really does help to keep my acne under control. I'm not totally breakout free now, but it's a level that I'm happy with, so I'm going to continue using it for the acne controlling benefits and also for the anti-aging benefits. Here are some pimple patches from Alba Botanica. I have a couple left that I'm going to use up before we go, but I have determined I really like these. I haven't tried a whole lot of pimple patches, so I don't have much to compare them to. These stick so well. So what I will do is I'll do my whole skincare routine, apply my moisturizer, let that sink in, and then I'll put one of these on top. I know some people say you're not supposed to put it on over moisturizer, but I just don't like the idea of leaving one spot of my face without moisturizer all night. Like, that just feels wrong to me. So these stick on top of moisturizer as long as you just let it sink in. They will stay on forever. Like, they will not budge. So they call this a hydrocolloid patch, and essentially it's supposed to just kind of keep your pimple protected, and it also helps to kind of get out some of that gunk in there. So when you remove this, I'll put this on at night before bed, and then in the morning I'll take it off, and it's kind of satisfying because sometimes it'll kind of extract a little bit of that zit for you without irritating it or anything. It's really nice, and I do notice a difference with these. I do feel like, especially when I put it on a zit that has already kind of come to the surface, it just helps immediately like dry it out, calm it down, and it also helps to protect it and keep you from touching it and picking at it. So I definitely recommend these. Even though I haven't tried that many pimple patches, I did enjoy these and I would like to repurchase them in the future. I might try something different first just to kind of see what else is out there, but I could definitely see myself going back to these. And each box comes with 20 small patches and 20 large patches. I like that there's a couple different sizes and they're totally clear. You can't see them on your face, so you could even wear these out and about and no one would notice. So, alright, next I finally used up these 100% Pure Bright Eyes Depuff and Brighten eye patches. These just came in a little single-use package. Really enjoyed these. I actually used these the day of my friend's wedding. It was a nice kind of like pampering moment there. And I liked these a lot. They felt very cooling. They stayed on well. They left my under eyes feeling very refreshed. I mean, you know, nothing miraculous happened to my under eyes, but I enjoyed the experience of using these. Probably wouldn't repurchase these exact ones because I think there are some brands that make them in, like you get multiple in a jar rather than just a single-use package. Derma E makes some like that, and I think Pixie does also, so I'm definitely going to consider picking some of those up because they are really nice and refreshing. And pro tip, keep them in the fridge and they'll be like even more refreshing that way. So I did use up this little sample of the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream Light. I was going to wear this as my nighttime moisturizer, and as I was putting it on, I realized that it has sunscreen in it, which I did not expect. It doesn't say it has SPF in it, but as I was applying it, I was like, whoa, this is a sunscreen. And I looked at the ingredients and it does have homosalate and octocrylene, so it's probably not a broad spectrum sunscreen, which is probably why it's not labeled sunscreen, because I don't think those two filters would be enough for adequate sun protection. But anyway, I was putting this on at night and I immediately washed it off because I was like, I do not want sunscreen on my face right now, especially knowing that chemical sunscreens, which those filters are, irritate my skin. So that was kind of weird. I think I used up the rest of it like on my neck the next day. But yeah, be warned. I did not know that that had sunscreen in it. This is a lip scrub that I used up on my body. I think I got like pretty much a full body application of this for a body scrub. This is the Agave Plus Weekly Lip Scrub from Beet, RIP Beet. I just don't really use lip scrubs, so used it up on the body. Okay, let's do hair now. Have a couple of shampoos. This is the Nature's Gate shampoo for oily hair with awapui ginger and holy basil. I shared this in an eye herb haul at the beginning of the year. I actually didn't care for this, and neither did my boyfriend. We both found it to really kind of dry out our scalps and make them kind of flaky. So I liked the way it made my hair feel and look otherwise, but it must just be too drying or something, because it is for oily hair. I do have oily hair, and I don't know, it must have just been too drying for my scalp. It smelled really good. It smelled kind of like gummy bears or like watermelon Sour Patch gummy candies, something like that. Reminds me of that. We ended up just using this up as a body wash because it just wasn't working for our hair, but yeah, there's my review on that. However, I would repurchase this. Oh, this is actually a conditioner. The shampoo is currently in our shower. This is the Garnier Honey Treasures Repairing Conditioner. Fantastic. I bought this because of Too Much Tosh, and she was right. This is great. Oh, it smells so good. Doesn't smell that much like honey. I don't normally like the smell of honey. This smells more just like sweet, like candy or something, but it doesn't smell like honey straight out of a jar or anything. Really enjoyed this. This makes my hair incredibly soft and silky, and just it feels so good. It says it repairs and mends dry, damaged hair. Definitely recommend. It's like $3 or $4, so try it out. I think a lot of people would like this. A couple of mini hair products. This is the Suave Almond and Shea Butter Moisturizing Shampoo. I think I got this from a hotel or something a long time ago. Suave is not cruelty free. Didn't love this in the hair. I felt like it really weighed my hair down. And so we used that up as a body wash as well. Pro tip, use your shampoos as body wash if you don't like them on your hair. And then this is the Zion Health Ancient Minerals Conditioner. Also have, this is a conditioner from Zion Health. It's the Ancient Minerals Conditioner. Regenerate, it says. Didn't really feel anything about this. I don't have much to say about this. It just felt like a regular, very basic conditioner. I didn't feel like it did a whole lot for my hair, so I wouldn't repurchase that. I have a few body care products. This is a hand cream, but I used it kind of as a hand cream and as a body lotion. This is the Advanced Clinicals Collagen Hand Cream. It's in such a big tube that it felt kind of silly to use as a hand cream, but I just kept it on my desk. I think it's meant for, it says for salon professionals, so I think this is meant for maybe like nail techs, things like that, people who go through a lot of hand cream. I enjoyed this as a hand cream. It felt very nourishing, but also very lightweight, so it didn't feel thick or greasy on my hands. I also enjoyed it as a body lotion. The scent was very mild and basic, just a very, very soft, clean scent. I probably wouldn't repurchase this. I think I would prefer something to have a little bit more of a fun, exciting scent, but this was good. I used up, this is my favorite body sunscreen, the Paula's Choice Extra Care Non-Greasy Sunscreen SPF 50. This is a chemical sunscreen. It does smell like sunscreen. It doesn't have a fragrance to it, but it does kind of just smell like sunscreen, so keep that in mind. I love how liquidy this is. It just kind of sinks right into my skin. I don't feel it on my skin. It's one of the least annoying body sunscreens I have found, so we'll continue to repurchase that. Then we have a self-tanner. I think I might have one more application's worth left in here. I'm going to try to use up that last bit, but this is the EcoTan Hempitan Body Tan Water. They say this is super dark. I would not agree with that at all. I would say I get a nice, just kind of subtle, medium level of tan with this. I've even applied like a lot of it at a time, and I still max out at like a solid, just middle of the road level. Would not classify it as super dark at all. I liked this a lot, actually. I've been wearing it a lot recently, so it's fresh on my mind because I've been trying to use it up, but you just spray it directly onto your body and then rub it in with a mitt. You'll want to use one of those smooth mitts, not the fuzzy ones, so that it doesn't absorb too much of that water, but I really didn't have much of an issue with it streaking at all, especially like on my arms, legs, even my knees and elbows. It would go on very evenly there. The only area where I'd have trouble is my feet, like my ankles, but otherwise it was good, and I think that's kind of true for most self-tanners. I also, kind of like pimple patches, I haven't tried that many self-tanners. I'm usually not much of a self-tanner person, but I was just trying to use this one up, and I did enjoy using it up. It gave a nice, like, even tan. It would last about a solid week. I do currently have it on. I've had it on for about a week since I applied it last, and it still looks pretty good. I'm getting like a teeny bit patchy on like my inner thighs, but other than that, I mean, it does stay on for like a solid week, and it fades very gradually. And then I do have this kind of exfoliating tan remover glove that I'll use when it's like almost all the way gone. I'll just use that to slough off the rest of it. So I enjoy this. I do think this one's pretty pricey. I think this is around like 40 something bucks for this one. So next one I want to try is the Ulta Beauty tanning mousse, because I've heard that one is really good and that one is a lot more affordable. And I think I would prefer a mousse over a water. I feel like that might be a little bit easier to work with, especially around the ankles. And this says to leave it on, it says 1 hour express tan. You can leave it on for 1 hour, 1 to 4 hours, depending on depth of color desired. I would just leave it on overnight. And the other good thing about this is it doesn't really transfer onto fabrics once it dries. I would still make sure to wear dark clothes once it dried, just to be safe, but it didn't transfer onto my sheets or anything. So really good self-tanner. Yeah, it's a good one. Maybe check it out if you're in the market for a tanning water. Last couple of things are household related. This I hated. This is the Boulder Clean Disinfectant Cleaner. This is from Aldi. This smells terrible. What is it with like natural cleaners smelling awful? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to be done with this. If you have ever tried the 7th generation cleaners, this smells like those. Don't get this. And I have 2 candles. First up, this is the Skylar Vanilla Sky candle. This smells so good. These Skylar candles have a great scent throw, but they're very sooty. Like, look at all that soot, and I'm really good about trimming my wicks That is not a normal level of soot there, and my other Skylar candle did the same thing. So I enjoyed this while I had it, but I would not repurchase it. I think these candles are like $40-something. That's too much. It's just too much. And then this candle is from the Taylor Wynn and Anchored Northwest Candle Company collab. This is the Late Night Glow scent. It says it has smoked cedar, sandalwood, clove, leather, amber, and musk. Really nice, kind of cozy, cologne-y sort of scent. I did enjoy the scent, but I did feel like the scent throw on this was not as good as the Love You Loads candle from the same line. So, I don't know, I think these are going to be discontinued soon anyway, but if I were to repurchase one, I probably would get the Love You Loads instead of this one, but I still enjoyed it. So that is the long-awaited, huge empties. I can't believe I used up all of this in the last month. Definitely had Nathan's help on some of these things, but I would definitely call that a success. Very happy to have used up this many products before we head off to Seattle, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you've not already, and hopefully I will talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye!